everyone, Joy from Sunday Sounds here. Let's take a look at our patch, designed in the style of Another in the Fire, as originally performed by Hillsong United. We play this song in its original key of C and at its original tempo of 67.5 BPM. So for this patch, when we have the mod wheel here at 0, we've got a nice organ and ambient pad, and the organ actually goes the full length of the keyboard so that you can play whatever you'd like with it. And then for a little more ambience, you want to just nudge the mod wheel up just a little bit, building up to about 40%. Also, when the mod wheel is at 0, we also have a piano here in this lowest octave, up to this B here. So then, once we hit the 50% mark here on the mod wheel, we're going to have the synth bass along with the piano here down in the lower end. And then we're also bringing in a bell layer that's right here. It's just on these 5 notes. So as you play the song, you'll just want to make sure that you don't have the mod wheel at 50 unless you want the bells in. Anything less than that, and you're going to have just the organ and the ambient pad. And then once you have the mod wheel here at 100, it's going to bring in a synth lead in addition to the bells. And it's going to be right here in the same spot. Now the thing about this synth here that you'll want to make sure to remember is it sounds really distorted if you hit more than one note, so you want to make sure that you do really clean breaks with your sustain pedal and that you play only one note at a time. If you play 2 notes together, it sounds a little like this. You can hear some of that distortion. Okay, so here's what the intro sounds like. So you'll have your mod wheel starting here at 0 for the intro. You can nudge it up a little bit, up to 40%, again, if you'd like more ambiance. Once it hits 50, you'll have that bell lead in there, so I like to keep it below 50 for the intro, as well as the first verse. And like I said, the organ is the full length of the keyboard, so if you want to play a little bit more with your right hand, that's just fine. So you'll do that progression 2 times through for the intro. And we do similar chords throughout the song. So for the right hand, we're doing this. Now for the second chord, you could do it a couple different ways. Sometimes I like to play it this way. And sometimes I like to add the third into the chord. The other way sounds like this. The left hand is just playing those single notes for the intro. All right, so after the intro, we'll have verse 1, and here's what verse 1 sounds like. So here's how you'll play verse 1. You'll start again with the mod wheel position down at 0. Again, you can nudge it up a little bit throughout to build a little bit if you'd like, up to 40%. Again, just making sure that you don't hit the 50% for that bell lead. And the right hand is doing the same chords as before in the intro. Okay, so after verse 1, we'll come to our first chorus, and here's what chorus 1 sounds like. Okay, so here's how you'll play that. So your mod wheel is now at 50%, so you heard the bell lead in there. And you're playing similar chords that you were before in the intro and the verse. One thing that changes is in the left hand, so now you're going to be playing octaves with, again, just those same root notes. And it's bringing in that synth bass in the lower left hand range. And then one thing to note is there is a turnaround at the end of chorus 1 where you'll repeat the progression one time through. Okay, so after that first chorus, we're going to move into verse 2, and you'll still be having the mod wheel here at 50 and the octaves for verse 2. So for verse 2, you're going to have the mod wheel here at 50 with the octaves, again with the synth bass and the low piano. You have one chord change. You have the minor 3 added in place of the 5. So make sure you watch your chords and how they change throughout the song. At the very end of the verse on the last chord progression, you're going to change your melody from walking up to just a slightly different melody, so it'll look like the right hand chords are basically the same as we've done already, except for that last line. So after verse 2, we'll come to our second chorus. And this chorus is very similar to earlier, except at the end of it, we're going to have a post-chorus that goes 3 times through the progression. And the melody in the right hand is just a little bit different. I'm going to go ahead and play chorus 2 for you. chorus 2 is very similar. It's going to stay with the mod wheel here at 50 with the octaves and similar chords up here. Again, feel free to do something a little different if you'd like, but if you'd like to stay true to the recording, just do those simple chords. And then it will go 3 times through that progression at the very end of the chorus, and your right hand will look like this. So after that second chorus and post-chorus, we're moving right into the bridge. And so here's what the bridge sounds like. Okay, so here's how you'll play the bridge. Mod wheel is now going to be all the way up at 100 with the synth lead on top, in addition to the organ and the bells. You'll want to make sure you have really clean sustain breaks, like I mentioned, and make sure you don't play any more than one note on the top, especially not this C. It's easy to hit that by mistake. It gets more distorted if you do that, so just be careful. Other than that, you're playing the same melody and the same chord inversions that you were before. The chord progression changes a little, so just watch that. So right at the end of the bridge there, like I did earlier, you'll want to bring the mod wheel all the way down to 0 for the instrumental. To stay true to the recording, the bells are not in for the instrumental, so I like to bring it all the way down to 0 and just do it with single notes. And you'll want to play 2 times through the progression. So right after the instrumental, it goes into verse 3. And just like the instrumental, I would do verse 3 with single notes. Okay, so for verse 3, it's going to be similar as we had before. I would do the single notes here, and then I like to do the octave on the very last time, and same as we had with verse 2, that last line has that other melody. Now we've come to our next chorus. It's similar to chorus 2, but it has no post-chorus repeats, and it goes straight into the bridge. So here's what that sounds like. So here's how you'll play that chorus. You'll have the mod wheel here at 50, so you have the bells in, you'll play the left-hand octaves. It's exactly the same as the previous chorus, just instead of having that post-chorus section, you'll just go straight into the bridge. So now we have one more time through of the bridge, and it's going to sound the same as the earlier bridge, and this time it will go directly into one final chorus. So here's what the bridge sounds like, one more time. Now we're at our final chorus, and you'll have the mod wheel here at 100, and here's what that sounds like. So for that final big chorus, you'll have the mod wheel all the way up here at 100, so you can have that big synth lead. Again, make sure to try not to play two notes at the same time or it distorts. And other than that, that final chorus is the same. And right at the end, you'll want to just move the mod wheel back down to 50 for the refrain. So the very last part of the song is a refrain, and this is what that sounds like. Okay, so for the refrain, I like to have it at 50 with the bells in still, and just the single notes, so that way it sounds nice and delicate. And you're gonna do the second melody that we did before. Okay, so just to recap the different mod wheel positions throughout this song. So when the mod wheel is at 0, that will be for your intro and verse 1. Also for the instrumental, so that was when we went 2 times through the progression before verse 3. And verse 3 is also with the mod wheel at 0. So then we have the mod wheel at 50 for the chorus, including that turnaround that happens the one time through the progression after chorus 1, and the post-chorus after chorus 2, where we repeat 3 times through the progression. And also verse 2 and the refrain, which is just that ending bit that they do live. And then you'll want the mod wheel at 100 for the bridge and the final chorus. So whenever you want that big synth lead in, then you'll want the mod wheel at 100. Now before I let you go, I wanted to let you know there's a Facebook group called Sunday Sounds Insiders, where you can find last-minute troubleshooting help, creative ideas, rig photos, exclusive tutorials, and song patch polls, lots of fun stuff. So it would be awesome to see you in there. Until then, I'm Joy with Sunday Sounds. See you next time.